picked up Deathstroke for a penny, didn't I? That's volume 1, the whole first graphic novel in all its beautifulness, for a penny. Happy days for eBay. Hey guys, and welcome to this week's jam-packed Just In. We have 7 titles, which is why we're going to do things a bit quicker. We're going to give like a super condensed rundown of the book, just say if we liked it or not, because I'm not going in depth about 7 different fucking books, that's for sure. Just as a quick anything to note, Civil War sides have been announced, which was exciting, and we kind of just had the same views on it.
Yeah.
Because we've got Team Cap currently stands as Captain America, Hawkeye, Falcon, Winter Soldier, Ant-Man, and Scarlet Witch. I agree with, like, Scarlet Witch makes sense because he took her in. Falcon's his buddy, Winter Soldier obviously is Bucky, so that makes sense. Ant-Man makes sense because, like, he fought Falcon, so Falcon is the one who knows about him and would bring him in, so that makes sense. Hawkeye, though, this is where we were like...
We don't like Hawkeye being on that team.
It's not that I don't like Hawkeye being on that team, it's just I feel he'd be a better fit with Tony, and Black Widow
would be with Steve, yeah.
Definitely. On Iron Man's team, we've got Tony, we've got Black Widow, who, because some people are like, there's a double agent apparently, and everyone's like, well, clearly it's Black Widow, that's why she's on that team. But that team also has Spider-Man, more than, like, if it follows the comic book, Spider-Man's the double agent, and he will be swapping sides. War Machine makes sense, it's Rhodey. Vision makes sense because Cap was like opposed to Vision being made, and Iron Man was the one who made him. You said they're very underwhelming sides. It's still not a war.
Yeah, it's like a small tussle.
It's still going to be cool. Black Panther he's neutral in all of this. But yeah, I think I'd swap Hawkeye and Black Widow around. But then some people say, like, Hawkeye and Black Widow wouldn't be on separate sides.
Is Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch on the same team?
No.
You'd think they would be.
Yeah, that's what I
judging by
said.
the entire last movie.
But yeah, I don't mind the teams. I want bigger teams, and I'd swap Black Widow and Hawkeye around. But apart from that, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Spider-Man's in it, so I'm happy.
Yeah. Because they said something about Tom Holland and Paul Rudd didn't actually have that many scenes to film for it. Like, they're already done filming. So that's odd.
That is odd.
I'm hoping that Spider-Man's not, like, has the same amount of screen time as, like, fucking Venom.
Oh, God.
Because otherwise I'd cry. But it should be fine. Anyway, let's crack on. That was just our thoughts on Civil War. We're going to start off. Turns out it wasn't Truth, Justice in the American way. Turns out it was Truth, Justice and Alienation, which I kept reading as Annihilation. But this is Action Comics 43. Really, in this, we kind of see that the cop Superman punched in the last issue, he was actually a shadow creature, and the shadow creatures have pretty much taken over. Like, the mayor turns out to be a shadow creature as well, and it's crazy.
I thought the shadow creatures were, like, mindless. You know, like the...
Yeah, it turns out they're like scrolls, and that they just turn into people and they're like having a takeover.
Then why was that big, like, one that Superman, like,
that
punched?
that was a shadow creature.
Yeah, but why was that so not people?
We'll probably find out in Superman. The best moment of this for me was Superman basically says, like, the hard truth for him is that he's not super. He can't protect everyone, he can't fly around and protect everyone. He's like, you can stand with me, but you need to pull your own weight and protect yourselves. He's like, from now on, each and every one of you is Superman. And everyone, like, rallies behind him, surprisingly enough. I expected more of them to be like, fuck that, I'll move.
I suppose it was a motivational speech, though.
But that was Action Comics 43, really summed up super quick. Loved it. This title has been amazing. It's been solid. I absolutely love the art. Yeah, because Greg Pak's writing this. I think Aaron Kuder is drawing it as well as helping writing and stuff. But definitely would recommend. It really does push the Truth storyline, which finishes next month. So can't wait to find out how this ends. Which is weird, because this is a big, like, whoa, shadow creatures have taken over. This could go on for more than one issue. But, yeah.
Maybe not. So, Groot 3. I've spoken about the other two Groots in previous episodes. Basically, Groot and Rocket are on an adventure, and then Rocket got kidnapped. So Groot's trying to find him. Groot bumps into the Silver Surfer and Dawn Greenwood. Because the Silver Surfer kind of knocked into Groot, they decided to help him, but there's this, like, cosmic storm going after a planet, and Groot and Silver Surfer team up and decide to help.
This Groot comic book it literally feels like a TV show. In, like, his long-term goal is to save Rocket, but in each episode it's like, what crazy adventures Groot gonna get up to this week?
Pretty much. And then Silver Surfer, like, absorbs the storm to make it go away, but it makes him really lightheaded. Turns out it was this big green creature that was causing the storm, that was to attract powerful people so it could steal their energy. And then one of these little pig alien things gives Groot a wire, like an electrical wire. So Groot basically destroys the alien by zapping it with lightning with that. It's awesome. Groot's awesome.
No, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Because Groot's a tree, so he can ground himself, so he doesn't get fried.
Okay.
So that's cool. Silver Surfer's going on this big rant about helping people. He's kind of acting drunk because he's had all his energy sapped. I really like that panel.
I like space.
Groot flies on his way to find Rocket at the end.
See, just a nice merry adventure with
Yeah.
Silver Surfer.
Still really like this art. It's just a fun story.
Is Silver Surfer like a stooge the whole way through this then? Or is he like... I don't know, he looks like he does a few things.
No, he's badass.
Yeah, next is Batman 43. This was my favourite book this week. This was fucking awesome. Obviously, you got Snyder and Capullo writing and drawing. Like, he just looks like... Because I said, before I read it, I was like, he looks like Slender Man. And then on the last page, I was like, he's fucking Slender Man. Bruce says he's not gonna help at all. He's like, I don't know anything about Batman. Obviously, Gordon goes off and, like, Bruce is happy helping these kids. And it's basically explained by Alfred, because Superman's like, that's not Bruce Wayne. We need to, fix him. And Alfred shows Superman, like, Bruce's brain patterns, and they're completely different. And Alfred says, basically, Bruce was buried, he died, and he was dead for quite a few hours. But when he came back, his brain was new, so he was still Bruce Wayne, but he was different. And this Bruce Wayne is like, Alfred was explaining to him Bruce's story, because Bruce couldn't remember anything. And Bruce is looking at a picture of his parents. He's like, I know I loved them, but I don't feel loss. So, like, all the anger and the pain and everything that made him Batman, he doesn't have anymore, and he's finally happy. And Superman's like, you need to tell, like, because he never got to tell Bruce, you are Batman. So Superman's like, we need Batman back, let's tell him. And Alfred's like, why? So he can just be sad and hate life again.
Yeah.
He was like, let's keep him happy. But Batman actually was working on a machine that any, like, other version of Bruce or Bruce's heirs or anything like that could go into this machine and age to the age of 27 and have all of Bruce's memories, all of his pain, his 15 years of training, and they could be the next Batman. So forever and ever and ever, there will be Batman. And Alfred's like, well, maybe it shouldn't go on forever. Maybe it should die.
Yeah.
And it was so... This is why...
Why was he buried? Why did he die? Does that...
Because of the Endgame fight with Joker.
Oh, right, of course.
Because they were both buried, so
Yeah.
Joker's probably still fucking alive. They won't kill Joker.
Nah.
But it's all kind of explained, and I really did... I just loved that whole background.
Mm-hmm.
It makes Bruce's character so much more interesting. Jim Gordon Batman is like trying to hunt down this Mr. Bloom, and he ends up having a really fucking cool fight with the guy with horns from before. It's like a whole group of them, and you see like a commander guy, a lead guy has 3 horns, and there's fuckloads of them, and he's like, not enough batarangs for all of them. Lucky I have this. And he has a batarang gun, and he's just firing that off. And then like behind him is a shark tank, and even the sharks have like horns. The shark tank breaks, and he just jumps out the way. All the sharks start like eating these horn guys, and he's just like powering off the sharks because he's Batman. And then the last we see of Jim Gordon's Batman in this is he's been dropped into a furnace. And he needs to, it's like a lead furnace, and he needs to find a way out because it's like at 200 degrees and he's going to die. And then this end scene is just shock factor. It was just even, this book's just so good. Because we see Penguin, and Penguin's like talking to Mr. Bloom. He's like, well, I hear you give people powers and I'm interested, although I don't think I need power to run Gotham. And Mr. Bloom's like, well, I'm not going to give you any powers because you're not part of this. You're not in my grand scheme of things. And one of Penguin's henchmen shoots Mr. Bloom in the head. And then they're just kind of like, well, come on, boys. And then you just see these tentacles stab through and kill all of Penguin's men. And then we just see Penguin with one through him. And I was like, fuck. And then the last page is just Mr. Bloom looking so Slender Man like, and he because basically Penguin calls him a weed, and he says the thing about weeds is they're really hard to kill and they grow pretty fast, and that's
awesome.
It's so good because it makes Bruce Wayne's character way more interesting, and it makes his relationships with people way more interesting, and like it just gave so much depth to it. What's great is that obviously so many people were like, fuck Jim Gordon Batman, like it's fine, I'll wait till Bruce comes back. After reading that, I'm like, I don't want Bruce to be Batman.
No.
Like you're like, fuck, you have the same realisation as Clark, because you're like, no, he's like finally happy and this is good, like this is a good thing. And it's like, if I wished for Bruce Wayne to come back, I'm an asshole because I just want Bruce to suffer all over again. But I think Bruce could be this other character. He can be Bruce Wayne and be new and different. And then Jim Gordon can be our Batman.
Yeah.
It's like I said, this was the best book of the week for me. So definitely recommend. Basically what Pete's going to be doing is obviously this week Starfire 3 came out. And it's a title that Pete's been wanting to read. And he was like, oh, they've only got 3. And then I managed to find him issues 1 and 2. It was the last copies of both, so he was like, fuck it, got all 3. So he's going to get you up to speed on 1 and 2 super quick, then talk about 3, because that is what's just in. Yeah. But it's good to have some background.
It was probably a bad idea to buy all 3, but they turned out to be really good, so it's fine.
Yeah, because he was like, he bought all 3, and I was like, what if you read issue 1 and you hate it? But at the same time, it was the last copy of issue 2, so if you did like it, you might not have got a chance.
Yeah. Starfire 1. Basically, Starfire has landed on Earth, and she goes to the sheriff's office, and she wants to assimilate onto planet Earth.
Is this like an already established, like, I'm Starfire, oh, look, it's Starfire? Or is this literally from the very start a brand new take on her?
This is a brand new Starfire. Yeah. So she explains her whole origins, how some aliens took over her planet and she was made into a slave and experimented on. That's how she got her dormant powers. So that's how she became Starfire. Then she fled to Earth. The sheriff kind of takes Starfire under her wing. There are little like Earth phrases that Starfire doesn't understand, and it just comes up in little like bubbles with sparkles around them. Starfire is selling some diamonds that she got from the ship that she took to Earth. She's selling it to this broker person, and he says he can give her 3 big ones for a diamond. And she just imagines like 3 elephants.
That's cool. This feels so modern. You get like segments, so like that one was called Show Me Your Jewels, and then
From Tears to Beers. And
like, yeah.
it's like chapters.
Yeah.
And then we get to like the main story thing. There's a tropical storm, and Starfire's got to save people, basically. The place that she's living in, she's living with this blonde guy and his grandma. Starfire 2, there's this big red monster that crawls out of the ground. And then it turns out that while this tropical storm is going on, the sheriff's brother is rescuing some people off a cruise ship. So he's in like serious danger. They all are. Starfire goes to save him. She ends up living with him because her trailer got destroyed. The main action is saving him from the storm, and at the end of this, there's just this footprint, which is from the big red creature that came out the ground.
So, she's got like her potential love interest in place, has she?
Yes. Yeah, she's got her potential love interest and her big bad villain.
Also, this page is good.
Oh.
Yeah, to see some boob.
There are quite a few pages like that, actually. Not so much in that one, but yeah. So you put it down immediately.
Ain't reading that shit.
Okay, now Starfire 3, the one we're actually doing. So it starts with a different cruise ship, completely unrelated, and some guy called Soren Hook is rescued from the tropical storm. It's all centered around this island in the tropical storm, basically. He acts all innocent and everything until they look up the name of the ship that he was on that got destroyed, and it turns out he's like this guy who's wanted for murder and everything, and he's got superpowers. So he hypnotizes, kind of. He puts his hand on someone, and he hypnotizes them to give him his gun, and then just shoots him. People keep making the same joke about her name, because it's like coriander, like the herb. So, yeah, that happens.
Oh.
In like a different chapter, you're shown a beach and some guy dicking around in the water, and then his girlfriend just gets eaten. She gets dragged under the ground and then eaten, and then her skull is just thrown at her boyfriend, and then he gets eaten as well.
That's cool.
I know.
This isn't like Subterranea, like linking in with the Batman Superman Subterranea, is it?
No, different Subterranea. The sheriff gets called in to investigate this murder on the cruise ship. Sheriff finds a survivor on the ship, and he tells her everything. And this big red creature just bursts in whilst Star and this waitress are having a conversation. So she blasts it with an energy bolt. What's it called? Starbolt. And it gets bigger, because it turns out it absorbs energy. So Star flies away, and it turns out this waitress flies away too. So this waitress turns out to be Terra.
Okay.
Yeah. The red creature isn't actually after Starfire, it's after Terra. So they're gonna team up and take him down, because, you know, Subterranea, so Terra's from down under and all that crap.
1 and 2 sounded good. This sounds like a clusterfuck, because
That's because I explained more of what's in it. I didn't explain, like, the separate chapters and shit.
it's more the fact that it's like the guy on the boat killing people, and then some red monster, and people getting eaten.
They're gonna get related at some point.
I was gonna say, hopefully that all connects.
In the next one.
Stupid.
Yeah, because the guy on the boat jumped off the boat and escaped, and then this red monster shows up, so...
Maybe he is the monster.
No, I don't think so. It's good when you read it. I really liked it. I liked it, like, twice as much as I thought I would, so I would actually recommend it.
My last title for you guys is Batman Superman 23 again, Alienation. This one, really not a lot happened. Superman's in Subterranea, and it's kind of like him and Batman are still bickering. Superman wants to do this on his own, and he kind of says, like, I could call Wonder Woman, and I have all these awesome super friends, and I'm nothing compared to them now. And he's like, it may just be arrogance, but I still feel like things should be done the Superman way, but they'll do it their own way. He sees that Urka, who's the, like, underworldy guy from last issue. He sees Urka's built a camp. The camp is full of prisoners from Earth, so they're like humans, and they were able to get out of the prison during Joker and Batman's fight, and they've come down because they're like, we have a life here now, and they brought their families down with them. And Urka wants this sun that Wayne Tech had built just for light and as an energy source. He just wants to help these people, and Superman's like, I'll just reach out to them and help them, and Batman's like, you always want to do the right thing, but you're so soft-headed. He's like, we need to get in there and just sort them out. Superman finds like this skeleton with armor on, and he puts the armor on, and they're like, oh yeah, you're one of the warriors here. And they're like, you've been gone for a month, so you've deserted us. Like, he's talking to the prisoners, gets their backstory, and then he just gets the shit kicked out of him by all these other warriors for desertion, which was quite funny. It's cool because we see Perry White's view on Clark now, and he's saying, like, I loved Clark to bits, but he was basically a liar, and he just came in and pretended to be one of us. So Perry White's like against Clark now. Like, Gordon goes to Lois to ask, can I trust Clark? And Lois says yes. You know, he always wants to do the right thing. He'll put everybody before himself. But it's interesting because Urka gives a speech about how he promises to make things better, and Superman's monologue is like, everyone believed him, hell, I even believed him. And it looks like Superman's being won over by him. And then, yeah, Batman's like, look, we're going in. If they don't have a fucking navy, then they don't stand a chance. And Superman says, Batman, I don't think they need a navy. And it turns out that their newest ally and protector is, in fact, Aquaman. Which is so fucking... He just looks great, and I thought it was really fucking cool. And it was a story that I was kind of like, oh, this looks like it's going to be really dull. And it just... A lot of it was fairly dull, but it started picking up more and more. The reveal of Aquaman was great. The constant conflict between Batman and Superman is great. I would still recommend it, but it wasn't the strongest book at all this week. What do you think? Does it sound... It's like we said, it just... This whole Subterranea thing feels so out of place.
I really don't like that kind of story.
No.
It's basically anything with dinosaurs or... you know, just that kind of theme.
It feels really out of place in a Batman Superman crossover, but hey. So your final solo title
is the next Inhumans, Attilan Rising.
It's 4, are you up to now?
Yep, 4. The last one that happened, Black Bolt just got captured by Medusa, and she is interrogating him because he's got information about Doom and how he plans to take him down and all that crap, because Medusa is on Doom's side and Black Bolt is the Resistance, the voice unheard.
Yeah, because this is a Secret Wars book. But you said in this, Black Bolt hasn't actually gone through Terrigenesis and he can talk.
Yeah, and apparently he loves the sound of his own voice and he's very charming. Sterilon, the telepath, is in it, and because you know he was in Genesis, so this dick's back in it. and he's interrogating Black Bolt, so he's just going through his mind with like little electric-y things, and it's brutal. Because he's already blown up one of the Voice Unheard's heads. And there's like two parts to this whole comic. There's the Black Bolt getting interrogated, and there's the rest of the Voice Unheard, which is a team of, was it Naja, Megarad, Flint, and they've just gone through the Eldrac door and ended up in the Northern Sea, like 100 feet below. And the sea creature just shows up and it swims away, but it turns out it was only the baby, and it's gone to get its mother, so they need to get out of there now.
There's always a bigger fish. That's the only lesson worth learning from Phantom Menace.
Basically, Sterilon's like electrocuting Black Bolt so much that he's like getting like bulbs of pus on his head, and it's gross.
But his charm and good looks.
Don't worry, it fades after like a minute, so it's fine.
So worried.
I know.
I can't wait for the new Black Bolt Charmer issue 1 to come out. It's going to be great.
No, I reckon he's going to go through the mists at some point. I say at some point, there's only like one issue left.
So next issue.
Yeah. Basically, Medusa stops Sterilon. Yeah, so she tells Sterilon to take a break and says she just wants to chat with Black Bolt. She's trying to understand why he's the Resistance, why he's going against God Doom.
So they have no memory of like being together and being king and queen.
No, they've always been enemies.
That's crazy.
Because that's what Doom does.
Yeah.
So, first of all, she pitches him her argument, which is Doom's plan is to create order, and it's all a well-oiled machine, and if something goes wrong, it's all fucked, so you need to do what they say, which is why Black Bolt never went through Terrigenesis, because he doesn't want to be a cog in the machine. If you get assigned your job judging by what powers you get. So if you were an artist your whole life, and then you get the power to shoot energy beams out your eyes, you'll be drafted into the military, even if you want to be an artist. Yeah. And if you go against that, you get sent to prison. And then he says, let me tell you about Lord Doom's machine. And he just pictures her this whole doom and decay and the Hydra Empire with slavery and racial stuff and the war zone, and nobody's allowed to help, and the undead fighting machines and arenas, and I think that's Venom versus... I think that's meant to be Colossus. Yeah, so if you go against Doom, you get put in the arena and see how long you can survive. So she asks what his plan is, and he says it's to take down New Attilan, because it turns out that the tower, the big-ass tower, you see it in like every picture of New Attilan, you'll know. It turns out that broadcasts a signal so that Doom can control everybody. And once Medusa is told about this, she starts to realise that it's kind of true. And then the Thor Corps show up to take Black Bolt away, even though it's technically Medusa's custody. And then we switch back to the team, the Voice Unheard, and they've got to dry land without having to face the mother creature, which was kind of disappointing, but whatever. As soon as... at this point Megarad is human, but as soon as he gets to the sand, he's able to absorb the gamma radiation and go back into Hulk mode, because he is awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't like him at first, but he is awesome. Basically, he absorbs the gamma radiation from around him, and he's got like little orbs inside him. He stores the gamma in those and uses those to Hulk out. And once it runs out, he goes back to human, so he can choose when he hulks out, but his gamma radiation is limited, so he can only do a certain amount before he turns human again. Lord Baron Maestro is there, and that's why Eldrac sent the team to him. Medusa goes to save Black Bolt from the Thor Corps. She just brings out this tiny ass whistle, does one whistle on it, Lockjaw shows up, and she just tells him to fetch, and that's the end.
That's awesome.
I know.
And of course, we get this beautiful preview for Deadpool versus Thanos,
Yes, we do.
which I cannot wait for. So, would you say that was has that made this? Has it been like, wow, this is really cool where it's building up to?
Yes, that was definitely the best one so far. Because it's all been a bit calm.
Yeah.
But this was actually actiony, and I liked it.
Speaking of the opposite of actiony, we have Secret Wars number 5, which straight off the bat I can say very little happens, and considering how huge issue 4 was, I was so excited to read this, and I was just kind of like, yes, there were some cool moments,
but it was a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah, basically we get to see they've like put up a statue for Doctor Strange, and they're at his funeral, and people are like, we'll find out who did this, and obviously it was Doom. Doom has a talk with Val, and she's like, you're a god, surely you know everything, and he's like, but I might lose my temper and break the world, so you have to find who did this, and he kind of...
He talks himself out of it, just about, but she doesn't believe him.
He visits Molecule Man in God knows where. It's like in the Molecule Man statue.
It's like underneath it.
Yeah, but he visits Molecule Man. This just made me realise, like, I have Time Runs Out, and I need to fucking read it. Because Molecule Man talks about the Beyonders' plan, and how Molecule Man, there was many different versions spread across the multiverse, and he was acting as like a bomb, and he was going to be he was going to destroy the universe for them, and it's such a weird concept, but I really liked it. It made Molecule Man way more interesting, and Molecule Man is very mind fucky with Doom when he's like, you always think you're helping me and you found me, but what if it's the other way around?
Yeah. Side note, I really like Molecule Man in this. Like, he's kind of badass, whereas
much better than the original Secret Wars,
He's actually like a well-rounded character in this.
And I mean, we see like how Molecule Man and Doom went around and tried to destroy the other Molecule Men. We get to see like the Beyonders in like person form, I guess.
Yeah.
We see they made like an army of Black Swans, and they said like Stephen Strange joined them right at the very end when he knew that like we're fucked. And we just get a recap of the moment of Doom getting the Beyonders' powers, and it was like they built loads of Molecule Men to just fucking go at the Beyonders and fight them and steal their power. And the reason Doom doesn't take the power is because he's like, how can you choose what lives and what dies? And like, I can't do that. And then like Doom admits that he killed Strange, but only to Molecule Man.
And then Molecule Man already knows and says that Doom smells of guilt.
He smells like a one-night stand. Then, like, Val and her merry team of scientists, we can see that they really don't trust what Doom's saying. And they say about how, like, there were energy signatures all around, and it's all Doom. You know, we are all made up of Doom, and he is Lord God Doom. But it says that Stephen Strange's energy signature was different, and that
it was like all things not Doom. It was like dark matter.
And looking at his energy signature, they can see that he was the one that scattered everyone. And they're like, well, maybe, you know, they're like, there's something not right here. And she's basically saying they're gonna start investigating that. And we see where Thanos ended up, but it's the Shield, which is like where all the undead and stuff were, and he's just stood there smiling. And it's obviously like the next issue, you see all the undead, like who have we got? Loki, Dr. Octopus, and MODOK, Bullseye, Enchantress. We have all these different bad guys that he's gonna fight off. Lizard, Vulture, and
shit's gonna go down.
Yeah, this is why this felt like so much more of a filler. I don't know. Part of me feels like you could fucking skip it.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't make a difference. But that's just me. It's like I said, big tie-ins where time runs out. But yeah, filler for what should be next time a huge issue.
If it's not, then I'm going to be really disappointed.
Same. I was disappointed with this.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, that is our 7 titles. That was a massive just in. As always, guys, like this video, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe. You can go over to Facebook and Twitter, both of which are Music Ninja Matt. Get in contact, ask us questions, and we'll give you a shout out. We'll always reply to you. Playlist for comic comments, that's down in the description, and there's our competitions in the description as well as all the links. So just go and check shit out in the description. Apparently we're not allowed to say goodbye from me and goodbye from me because Hannah doesn't like it, so we need a clever outro.
Nah.
Oh my god, should we just Fonzie it?
Yeah.
Hey! I said good day. Oh my god, that's what we're doing. I say good day, and you go but, and then I say I said good day. You won't understand the reference, but I do, and that's why it's funny.
What was the reference?
It's from... Thank you. It's from that 70s show. Fez is like, good day. And they're like, but Fez. And he's like, I said good day.
Okay.
Good day.